ready.
I'm not ready. Okay,
Ready?
let me take a drink of water and then I'm for ready. Okay.
You sure?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready now. I think.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hi.
Oh, look at that fabulous hair. Can you tell she just did it?
Don't get used to this.
Like
this is only because I literally got my hair done.
Just did it. Like she just walked in. Like we need to record.
I did. Well, this was kind of the plan accidentally. She had to move me up because they were going home or something.
I was wondering why it was so early.
Well, yeah. So she had to move me. It was supposed to be last week, but then they planned a trip, and so she moved me up, and she was gonna move me later, but I have the LED course coming out, and I was like, if we're gonna move me, let's move me up if you can,
Right?
Because I have to record videos for that and whatever. And so then, yeah, it was at 9:30 this morning, which is very early for me to be like functioning and like out of the house. Yeah. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
And it's a Tuesday, and that's usually when we record now for the most part. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today's episode is sponsored by
Katie with Monarch Pine. Not Pines.
No.
I saw the S on your lips.
No, it wasn't. Not anymore.
No.
I corrected. Who did I correct? I corrected Will. Will, when he was doing.
He goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's giving everybody 10% off with code Riley Black, monarchpine.etsy.com. Yeah.
Yep. Today we
Who do
have,
we have
a special one for
Who is
you.
it? Who's the guest?
It is us.
Ta-da!
It's just us.
Hopefully you're not disappointed.
Right. We are going to keep it real this episode.
We are.
We're going to
What is it?
pull back the curtain.
Keeping it will. But we're keeping it. Well, so he does all the time keeping it will.
Yeah.
So we're keeping it Crystal and John.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna pull the curtain back a little bit and talk about
all the stuff that we don't really talk about all the time. Like we do a little bit.
Like our ups and downs. Because we've talked a lot to people. You know, we interview people all the time, and we talk about their ups and downs and everything like that. And we never really...
We talk about ours a little bit.
In conjunction with theirs.
Right. Well, and in the life updates.
Right.
A little bit.
Right.
But like we don't really go into depth too much.
Right.
And then also with the life update, I always feel bad because like the episodes have been a little bit longer lately. And then like I don't want to go on for another 30 minutes on the life update because in my head I'm like, ain't nobody watching watching at this point. Like,
well, they can watch it in chunks.
Gone.
They can watch it in chunks.
Right. True.
But today we're gonna go a little more in depth. And just because there's been a lot going on. There's been like really high highs and some low. I mean, we've to be fair, they seem like low, but we've been lower.
We have. We've
been riding so high.
The hard part is remembering that we've been lower.
Right.
And even though we've been lower, it doesn't make that low necessarily any easier or less scary.
Especially when we were up higher. So it's a give and take. But so where should we start? Where you got the idea for this episode?
Yeah, so we didn't have a guest scheduled this week, and I had a couple people that I planned to reach out to, and then one of my followers, I'm not sure if she's a student. I think she is. I'm pretty sure she was. She posted on my page in the Silhouette for Lasers group and was basically like talking about how much she loved my video for Laser MakerCon, for Emily's virtual conference. And this same video, now mind you, for those who don't already know, we were getting ready for the next level laser conference. But then I also, and then I was going to Colorado afterwards, right? So for those who are participating in both, the Laser Maker Con, your video submission was due by July 4th, right? Well, that's great because then after the conference, you have time to go home, record, and do your thing, right? Well, not for me because I got home from Colorado on July 9th. So that meant that I had to not only get ready for the conference and my Ask Me Anything booth and the keychain thingies booth, one isn't enough. You got to do all the things,
All
right?
of it. All of it.
So
The only thing left was to be a speaker.
right, and I could. There's no, and so then mine had to be done before
the conference.
Before the conference, so I had to finish it. I think we sent it literally like Wednesday or whatever before the conference, and Emily kept giving me like credit because I was one of the earliest and it was on time. I was like, that's only because I had no other choice. It had to be early. Otherwise, I would have been that person who was giving it to you on midnight July 4th, if not the morning of July 5th. Because that's just how I am.
We just got the last one in, so
what? Oh, right. Yes. So
it was a loose July 4th.
It was, but still, like, I understand why it needed to be there because, again, if like they need you to make an adjustment or there's just so much that happens behind the scenes,
file sharing,
all of it. There's so many things that can happen. I understand why the deadline was earlier. About it.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
I had to do this combination. I did this combination of like what's called a talking head, where I'm like talking to the camera, like telling the story. Yeah. And then I also did a teaching portion. And so the teaching portion, was showing them how to weld a name to an existing shape or whatever for an ornament. And I kept second guessing it whether it was too basic, because it's one of the kind of like the first few things you do when you're like customizing files or customizing things, right? And so I'm like, all these people who are coming, they already know that or can find that information elsewhere. The story I was telling about going viral, like I don't know how to go viral. It wasn't even me who went viral. It was a girl who made a video about my products that went viral. It wasn't even something I necessarily did besides making the items.
It was how to deal with
And I don't sell a ton of physical products. And so all of these things are in my head and making me overthink it, right? And then I, thankfully, unlike a lot of the other speakers, have this built-in production company who can at least
pretty nice in here.
Make me look nice, even if I can't get the words out that I want to say.
You just got to polish that turd.
Right, exactly. And so I was going over, I was doing the video and I had my lines and I had it all written out. And then when I was watching it back, I was so critical of it because in my head, I always have this one picture and trying to meet that picture.
Right.
Sometimes I can't even describe what that picture is. It's just, this is what I think it's going to look like. And then when I see it and it doesn't exactly look like that, whatever. And then, a good thing about it was that there were so many other amazing speakers. I'm then like second guessing, like, should I even be in this mix of speakers?
It's also like the booth, like our booth, like our keychain thing's booth. Like, you know, like, oh, who's around us? I wonder what their booth is going to look like.
We moved me because I didn't want to be right next to PDS and Makerflow and Eon. Right. Because I'm going to have this little booth.
They have a lot of bigger budgets.
Right. And so I ended up being very happy with how our booth looked. Right. But going into it, I didn't know how it was going to look.
It would have fit right in with the rest of them too.
It would have.
It wouldn't have been.
No. But that all came together in literally the 11th hour. We were working on our booth until 2 a.m. Finally stopped at 2 a.m. and then went back again in the morning before it opened up at 11 and did a couple more tweaks, and then was finally happy with kind of the layout and how it looked and felt like it flowed and whatever, right? But seeing that video, and then I was like critical of like, I finally got out my lines, right? But then I was so concerned with my lines, I wasn't like smiling a lot. I wish I had smiled more, and like my personality wasn't like coming through. It was really serious for me, and I'm not serious. There were some joking moments, and we highlighted those like where we could. But yeah, it was just more serious than I'm used to being. And so I was really critical of it, and then Emily got it and she watched it back and she was like, oh my God, it's so good. And I was like, stop. And she was like, no, really, it is. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad you like it. Like, at least that's important.
The boss has to like
the person who needs to like it likes it. So we're good, even though I wasn't, 100% happy with it. If we had time, I would have probably tried to redo that talking head portion. I wasn't gonna do the middle part, the teaching how to do the ornament part. That was what it is. I wasn't gonna do that part again. But so I wanted to read this post that kind of was a turning point for me, because if you've been listening for a while, you know that around October of what year was that? 2 years ago? It'll be 2 years ago this October.
Right. 2 years ago this October? Oh, yeah, because we were here already. Yep.
Right.
Yep, 2 years ago.
So,
so 2022?
I believe it was the end of year episode where we kind of like really opened up and like I cried and everything. Yeah. But we really opened up about like the struggles we were having. We were having a lot of behavioral issues with JR. And then on top of the behavioral issues with JR, your schedule was 2:30 to midnight. And so these behavioral issues, they all happened after I picked him up to school, and then until bedtime. Right. And so like the battle started at 5 p.m. and it ended around 8, 9 o'clock if I was lucky. And like it wasn't always that whole 4 or 5 hours. But sometimes it was, and like there's only so much you could do.
Well, and then because also too that chunk of time is where I'm like really working.
Where he's busy, he can't
I can barely even answer the phone because we're getting ready for live shots and all this and that. So
and then we also had Jackson, who was a baby or toddler. He was under 1 because he's 3 now. So it was a really hard time for me personally. Like I felt like a failure as a mom. Like I'm getting emotional now. But it was tough. Like you supported me as much as you could. Right. But there's only so much you could do not being there. And then now we go back to you being here. And now the struggle isn't JR. Now it's paying the bills. Right. I was not prepared to cry today.
I promised myself I wasn't going to cry.
I didn't even promise myself I was going to cry. I didn't think I was going to.
Right.
But that shows you how much that time in my life was difficult.
We'll be right back. Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9 to 5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon Laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/why us and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Man, Lens Digital, make sure you go ahead and grab that when that new
Nothing to see here.
when the new what is it? Omni and all those come out, because we saw those at the
Hey,
conference.
you know, they said at the podcast.
Thank God for the sponsored ads, because I can put something there and we can come right back.
So they told us at the conference, the people who witnessed the podcast in person, the thing that they enjoyed about us the most was that we were real.
Right. Can't get any more real than crying.
And I mean, the thing is, like, you know, we share what's appropriate, what we feel is appropriate. We don't obviously we don't want to share everything either. We don't want to share every bad moment. We don't even want to share and you know, we don't even want to share like every single win, because then it also feels weird, because then it feels like, I don't know, you're bragging, boasting, just whatever.
Right. You don't want to be too much of a bummer. But you also don't want to be like a high, like, oh, of course you guys are. You have a show and you know, like all this and that. So.
And like, so anyway, it's things are a lot better, especially with JR and especially with having your help. And just now it's just these difficult, you know, the making enough to pay the bills when everything is so fucking expensive right now. Just little things like his aftercare. You know, went from $40, which was, very affordable a week, to $65 a week, which again, still affordable.
Still not horrible, but when
it went up $100 for the month. And like, I get probably why, because, you know, their costs and stuff increased as well.
Oh, and they're adding staff, different staff.
All the things. So like, I get it, but that doesn't make paying your bills necessarily any easier.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know,
listen, we all know the time that we're in, and you know, we can sit here and go on about how much groceries are, and all this and that, and then it never helps when you're, without getting political, it never helps when you're close to a election year, because now you have, like, you know, both sides going. It's just, it doesn't make things. There's so much unsteadiness.
And like friends and family are fighting, not really ours, but like just there's just a weird like heaviness. And yeah, so anyway, I have been like going back and forth with being very proud of my growth and very proud of where I've come personally and all that. But then there was also the times where it's like, and very thankful for like what we have, our new house. I absolutely love our new house, our new neighborhood. I love that your mom is here and she's here with the kids and she's able to help. But then it doesn't always make the tough moments go away. You know what I mean? And then again, like, needing to make constant content so that the algorithm sees you and
Right.
all that, when I'm 30 pounds plus heavier than where I was, kind of when this all started. And so then it's like, I need to make all this content. Well, the last thing I fucking want to do is be on camera
Right.
because all I do is
Right.
then tear myself apart. And why does my hair look like that? And I hate this and my arms and my chin and all that stuff. And so then it's like,
Right. And then also too, when you're feeling like down or stressed or whatever, the last thing you want to do is smile.
Right. Oh,
and
look at me,
everything
buy my stuff. Everything's amazing. Yeah.
Right, on social media or real or whatever.
Right.
It's hard to do both.
Yeah.
And,
it is.
I mean,
and you need to do it in order to get the sales.
Right.
At the same time, like it's a struggle. And then like the podcast has been like the one thing that consistently I've actually enjoyed doing.
Right.
But then I would run into things like we have all this content, right, from past episodes that we never even posted because from every episode he pulls like three or four like shorts, right? And I usually choose 1 or 2 to post for that week, which means we have anywhere from 1 to 3 plus shorts for each episode and that aren't posted. That's like content that's made, ready to go, and we could post. And then so I was starting to try and I was doing like throwback posts, right? But then every time I would do a throwback post that was like 6 months or a year before, I was seeing how much smaller I was. And so then then that brought up all of that feelings, and I stopped doing the throwback because every time it just reminded me of like where I'm at now and how I wish I was back there, So it's just like the struggle has been just a lot. So I'll say, let me read what post changed it for me. Well, and then I'm all over the place, but
Welcome to my world.
yeah, this is my brain all the time. Having the podcast and having regular listeners and having this following and being a laser celebrity that we've
Which is
people
so
have been coined as. It's very
weird.
strange for me because I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
You're seeing it all today. But like, people are like looking up to you for help with their software, with their laser, with business and all of that. And it's like half the time I barely have it together.
Right.
So it's like this, not that they're putting that pressure on me. I put most of that pressure on myself, but it's like, I'm probably spending more time helping other people with their businesses than I'm spending time helping me with my own.
Right. And it's like, oh man, that's some good advice. Maybe
I should do that.
Yeah.
But I don't, or it's difficult or whatever. So anyway, Lisa, I think it's Cutler, she had posted in my silhouette for Laser's group. Let me find the post. And so she said, OMG, Crystal, I just watched your segment of the Laser Maker Con to really pay attention to the nodes. Girl, in capital letters, your one segment paid off the fee I paid for VIP. Really watching and following along on your score part was huge for me, and hearing your story. I've been using Silhouette for over 10 years and still learn new stuff every day, but didn't know what I didn't know until someone wanted me to add a word to an existing ornament with scores. Thank you. Your tips were also super helpful. And like a little... what do you call it? Like a thank you graphic or whatever.
Emoji.
And right. And so like, this is another good point to say, if there's someone, laser or not, in your life, in your circle, in your community, who has made that impact on you, or man, that tutorial really helped you do this or whatever, take that 2 seconds to comment on their video, on their YouTube, post in their group. You have no idea how much that makes a difference.
Right. Yeah.
Because honestly, it took this post for me to realize like that this is a video I hated.
Right.
Not hated, but I didn't love.
That it makes a difference for someone that you're
Right.
actually, that you're doing more than just putting out a video.
Right.
Or participating in this thing for a friend.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because it kind of does, it's like,
Yeah, because
Emily
when your
reaches
friend
out.
asks you to
Right.
do a video for her upcoming virtual
got you.
conference, you do
Right.
a video for her
Right.
conference.
Right.
You know?
you aim to help.
Totally.
But it turns into like another task, and not in a negative way. Just okay, I got to do this video
Right.
to put it out so that M has something for
Right.
For her conference or whatever.
Exactly.
You kind of,
And she even told me, she even gave me an out when I was like overthinking it before I even recorded it. She's like, you don't have to, but I really feel like you could provide something of value
Right.
to, the people or whatever. And I know I would have kicked myself if I would have bowed out and not done a video.
Right.
I'm like, I need to do this video. And it ended up being really great. I got tons of email subs from the people who wanted the free file. And I've got a bunch of new people in my Silhouette for Lasers Facebook group, and just in general who maybe didn't know about me before, or
right.
knew about me but maybe didn't take the time to look to see if I had a Facebook group, or look to
Right.
follow my
Or just not know.
Instagram, or exactly, or whatever. And so it has been really beneficial. So I'm glad I like pushed through that, that crap that my brain likes to do. And then this LED course that I've been
Right.
talking about since the first conference. It was totally like, it was a time thing because the courses take a lot of time in the back end.
Right.
But it was also a confidence thing. It was like, do people really want to know this? Are people going to pay for this? Is it going to be good? Is
Right.
it going to be worthwhile?
Right.
And then several more people came out with LED courses, and people I even follow and know and like. And now their stuff was different, thankfully. And so I didn't feel like I'm competing against someone I know and like. But each person that came out with a new LED course, is again mostly on the flex stuff, which mine isn't. It like was like, oh, you should have done that. You missed your mark, or
Right,
you missed
right.
your time, and
Right.
that sale
Well,
is passed. And
right. With more time that goes by that you don't do it, the second guessing
harder
gets,
it is,
gets more and
to
more
start.
and more, because like, oh well, now I mentioned it back then. If I get it out now, it's gonna be like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just takes friends like Lisa with Etched Grace to push me and be like, people want this. You need to do this. You need to
Right.
talk about it. You need to post about it. You need to whatever. And like, it's kind of like when I was going to school for my finance degree, and I knew very early on that, I knew before I even went for my finance degree, I didn't really want to go for it. But at the time, I knew that at a certain point I was going to max out and pay because I didn't have a degree in an applicable field. So I knew I had to get this degree if I ever wanted to be able to level up in
Right.
my career, which was in accounting. As
was
much
the
as I
goal,
didn't
right.
love it, it's what it was. And I didn't really see anything beyond that, but I kept going because I needed to see it to the end.
Right.
It took me 11 years to graduate because I was going part-time while working full-time. And then
Right.
at the end, I also had a baby. So it was knowing full and well that I probably will not use this if I don't stay at this
Right.
job, but it was seeing it to
Seeing it,
completion.
right,
And
right.
so
You have
that's
this
what
much time in.
Right. And so that's what doing the LED course finally was about for me, that, okay, fine, if I sell it to one or two people, then it is what it is, but at least I finally completed it because I've been talking about it for so long. And the pre-sale has done surprisingly well when I've only mentioned it here on the podcast and at the conference. I mean, nothing crazy. It was 13 people, I think, or
Right.
something. And I sold it for dirt cheap for $50 because I just needed that oomph to get me going to finish.
Right.
And it was a little less pressure. I didn't want to charge them what I think will be full price, around $150. And it'd be crap. So if it's
Right.
crap, you only spent $50, But yeah, it's just been shifting this mindset and trying to be kinder to myself, and then, being happy with our growth, but then at the same time knowing that, like, sometimes our savings has like $0 in
Right.
it, or close to
Right.
$0. And it's like, should you? And then that only adds into the imposter syndrome, because it's like, don't listen to me. I have $85 in my savings
Right.
account. Like, don't
Right. We're
do what
not-
I'm doing,
Right,
because
exactly.
I'm not doing what I should be doing.
Right. Yeah, and it's also taking that part of it is that scary time. Careful, there's a microphone there. Partially it's that taking that leap of both of us being self-employed, because for the longest time we had the fail safe of my regular
Yeah, we don't have that
check.
anymore.
We don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to my old boss, see if I can still get some of those checks to come
Without
in
actually
without
going to
having
work.
go in. But no, that is the true part about when you go in. You have everyone has a set number.
Right.
Especially when you're thinking, do I go? Do I stay? What
Right.
do I do? You know how much you need for X amount of time.
Right.
We had that and then some, and now here we are with that, past that time and then some as well.
Yeah.
So it's that like we, everyone goes through it, and it's this is where you either I feel like this is the point where you make
Make or
it
break
or
it.
you don't.
Yeah.
Like if we stop now, then we'll
know.
never we will never make it.
Right.
So we got to keep going. But then it's
Right.
the fear of keeping going. And I think
Yeah.
if we go through that fear, that's where the reward is on the other end.
I think so too. And when that's what, like, all this time through, like, don't get me wrong, like, don't take the tears as like things are terrible and horrible,
No.
because they're not. Like,
No, it's just a different aspect is hard.
The conference was amazing.
Yes.
The conference,
And a big part of that,
like, just showed us that
Yes.
we were on the right path, that we're doing something good, that we've had this growth, and
Yeah.
like, we can do it. It's just now, like, getting there, and like, when everyone asked like how things are going with us, and like, we just had that party
Yeah.
this weekend, and everyone was like, oh, how's it going with the businesses?
Right.
And they're really interested in what we had going on. And it was like, going from one self-employed income
Right.
and a regular check to two self-employed
Right.
incomes it's really
not for the
fucking
faint of
hard.
not for the faint of heart. That's true.
Really hard.
Yeah.
And having two growing boys, and
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. And what I would say, a big part of what made the conference so huge for us was you guys turning out for that live.
Yes.
Because that was, I mean, we were flying pretty high already, but that just like really put, at least for me.
Yeah.
For me, like that gave me like, oh, we have to like really like go. Not that we weren't, but
Right.
like we really have to go into.
Yeah.
And because wow,
Well, and it's
there's a lot of people.
the feedback, the people, the new people we had never like, who had never been to one
Right.
before, and just like how many people came up to us and said how they appreciate how real we are, gave us the confidence in order to do an episode like this, where like, you're not alone. We all
Right.
need to know
Right.
we're not alone. Like,
Which is
like,
our mission for this whole podcast.
yeah.
Is to bridge
If you're
that
struggling, you're not the only one
Right.
who's struggling, because sometimes it can feel like that, because you see everyone's highlight reel
Right.
on their business page,
Right.
on their personal page, in the groups. Oh, look at this sale I just got.
Right.
And maybe this person is talking about this, 700 tumbler order they got, and how
Right.
excited they are. And all you see when you're in that dark place, or that scary place, you don't
Right.
know if you're going to make it. All you see about that is, why didn't I get that?
Right.
You don't see how that person went to 500 businesses and got
Right.
500 no's
Right.
before they got one yes that meant 700 tumblers.
Well, and then you also
know?
don't see that 700 tumbler order saved them, because they could have been I'm packing it up. Like we can't.
Right.
We have to move on.
Right.
And then they get that order, and oh my God, it's a lifeline. And then
Right.
that also boosts the post because you're so happy about this order and
Right.
everything because it bought you another however long before you're back
Right.
into that. So yeah, you see everyone's highlight reel.
Yeah.
And you start comparing yourself or where you're at to where other people are at.
Right.
Whether they started before you or after you.
Right.
And I feel like the after you is kind of like what stings a little more because you're like, man, why am I not there?
That has stung for me too, just because. Ow! Did you hear that?
No, but I saw the reaction.
My knee just popped. Having purchased my first laser in 2018,
Right.
and it being 2024.
Right.
And if I compare myself to someone who started last year, the year before, hell, someone who started in the same year of me as me, and I see, hey, they're killing it. Maybe they're making 6 figures, 7
Right.
figures, whatever a year. And I'm like, why can't I do that?
Right.
And there's a lot of reasons why. I don't have the perfect recipe. I may know a lot, but implementing it is 100% different than actually knowing it. Pushing through personal difficulties and whatever things you have going on, like, with my dad and not being near family and like all of those things, pushing through all of that. And then the anxiety and the confidence issues and pushing through all of that. And like, it can be tarred.
It could be tarred.
It can be tarred. But comparing yourself, what is it? Comparison is the thief of joy or something like that.
That's exactly. No, you said it right the first time.
And it's even for us laser celebrities, it's almost harder.
Right.
Because there's even
you're in
more
the
of an
light.
expectation to make it.
Because you literally have a light on you.
I know. It's a nice light though.
It is a really nice light.
It gives us a nice glow.
Yeah. I can't wait for 3.0.
I know, and then that's the other thing is like just knowing that like having more space would be beneficial in order for us to grow, but then instead we need to push through this limited space, make the best of what we have now, and then we'll get there to Studio 3.0.
Right.
But it's just making it to the other side of, and then it's trying to decide, what to do. Every hour I flip flop whether you should go get a part-time job or where should it be and what is it going to change with you have a part-time job. Does that mean I'm going to need to take on more with the boys and then maybe even take me away from the business some, and it'll definitely take you away from it some, and or do we just push harder and like and then it's like how long do you push harder and like where's the breaking point?
Right.
And I'm scared of finding that breaking point and then not being able to come back from it or being behind on our mortgage or whatever.
Whatever that looks like.
And so it's really hard to be proud of yourself and the growth when behind the scenes you're like, JR really wants to pay for soccer. How am I going to pay for soccer?
Right.
JR really loves to go to aftercare. How am I going to pay for aftercare? And it's like,
then that
wanting to go home, going home to Colorado,
Yeah,
even staying with my sister. The flights we only paid $100 extra for that flight, I think. But then it was the stress of being gone from here for 2 weeks and trying to manage my business when I wasn't here. And doing what I could from there, not even having my computer because I needed to be here to ship.
And then also the more recent ones is, what we were shown from the conference is that these shows really do make a big difference. But then these shows that are coming up between how we're going to get there, how much we have to pay for inventory.
Right.
So then how much we have to make as said show goes up and up. And then you compare that with the number of attendance or what kind of show, show it is. It's like,
and here, I don't know. No one said that I couldn't publicly say how much the fees are for UV Energized, but we'll just say they're over okay for a table at UV Energized.
I could always bleep that out.
I'll check and make sure. But It's pricey.
It's a lot.
Not that it's not. I'm not saying there's not value in it and it's not worth it, but
for us,
it's a
where
lot
we're
because you have that price of your vendor booth, right? But now I have to pay for the price of the hotel room while we're there, the travel to get there. Is it drivable? Do we need to stay somewhere on the way to driving there? If we drive, that adds an extra couple days to the beginning and to the end of the trip, which means that's 4 more days potentially that we're gone, and the kids are here with your mom trying to manage them by herself. And listen, there are a lot when all 3 of us are here, let alone when it's just one person.
And then if we don't drive, how much is it going to cost to ship everything over there? And how are we going to ship it back?
The hassle of shipping it all back, because we ran into that at the Next Level Laser conference, and like, okay, now we have all this stuff. I was hoping, we'd sell a ton and we'd be able to put it all in our luggage, and we sold a ton, but we still couldn't fit it in our luggage. And so, it's just the struggle of, okay, yes, breaking even if you break even at a vendor show, you may break even monetarily, but you still get the exposure. You get in front of new people. You may make that connection that's really huge. Like at Next Level, I had 3 other suppliers who were reaching out to me who were interested in wholesaling. Like that could pay for the booth fee on its own. But you don't know that going into it. And when you don't have a ton of money, and the vendor fee is your mortgage plus some. It's like, where do I make this choice?
It's and then it's also too, again, we want to grow and everything. So it's like, man, if you take the final cost of that, we can have our like new studio, or we could be halfway to our new studio. It's like, so
we spend that and we could be a third of the way to the studio instead of or you could go and sell everything and then now have like more to pay for the studio. It's just these big decisions that are gambles, and you just don't know how they're going to pay off, and they could pay off exactly how you think. They could pay off not what you think. And yes, if you can do it, take that jump. And you're never really, most of the time, you never really regret trying something. At the same time, it's like deciding whether now is the right time. It's like, maybe we should go next year. Maybe we should look into this other show that's easier to get to and the fee isn't as high. But then if the fee isn't as high, are your customers there? What kind of turnout are they going to have? Are you going to have a good booth location to where people actually stop by, or are you going to be in the back corner where no one sees that you're even there?
And then if we go to just scout it for next year, it's
still cost.
But I mean, it's all loss.
Because then
it's all loss as far
networking,
as it's all money out, not without the potential of money coming in right there. Because if you go to a show that you just sell, you try to sell as much as you can, in hopes it works. Where if we're going to just attend to survey and see who's there, see what kind of people are there, and everything like that, to see if there are people. Well, now we just spent however much it was. The same goes into travel and staying there. That cost doesn't change. But so it's the entrance, and we don't get any money coming in, at the show. So it's just, it's growth, but it takes money to grow.
It's like that reel, I'm gonna write it off.
It's a write-off.
It's a write-off, and it's like, who writes it off? The write-off people. And it's like, okay, sure, yes, these things are a write-off, but you have to have the money in the first place.
You can't write off. Zero times zero is zero.
Yeah, if you don't have the money to write off, there's no write-off.
And you can write that off, and then, the mortgage company is going to write you off.
Exactly. They're going to write you off in a different way.
You wrote it off. You spent that money elsewhere. Yeah, so it's definitely, it's ups and downs. And right now we're like kind of in the middle. We're in the middle, and it's kind of like, what do we do? It's like,
don't know.
And then it's also, and here's the other thing for me on my end. I feel like I've done, since taking the leap and everything, I've done nothing but change my plan. Like, I feel like I gotta stick to something
It's true.
in order for it to work, but it's so hard to stick to it when nothing
the money's
seems to
not
be
coming in
right.
as fast as we want it to.
Right, because even when I had a little momentum, it fizzled out right after that job, and I'm like, should I continue
Do I
this?
keep pushing?
Do I continue this or pivot to a different
Something
field?
else. Right.
You know what I mean? Because yeah, like the real estate thing was looking promising and everything, but it kind of fizzled out.
And you're still getting some jobs from it, but they're definitely not enough to pay the bills right now.
No, and not consistent, and that's the key is consistency, like everything. You know, I mean, like this podcast, the only reason, you know, we had to turn out was because we do one of these every week,
right?
And it is consistency, but at the same time, consistency needs to pay the bills.
It does. You
know, and consistency is not paying bills.
Well, and that's why, like, you know, the other thing too is Shopify does it for you whether you want it to or not, but it compares, you know, a time frame to a previous time frame. It can either be, you can change what it compares, but for the most part, it usually compares like this time last year. Yeah. Well, comparing this time last year, every time I go into my Shopify and I look at that main home screen, I see, 40% down, 50% down, 60% down. Some days it was less, some days it was more. And it took until after this conference to where I saw finally the update, you know, and the comparison was only down like 0.4%. Like, I'll take that.
Right.
I can take that.
Right. Yeah.
But seeing every day, 40% down, 60% down, and like holding on to every sale. Like, sure, some days like I'm getting sale after sale after sale, and then some days like there's nothing.
There's nothing to pull. Yeah.
And like those are terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, now what do I need to focus on, and choosing what to focus on. And is this going to move the needle faster, or is this going to move the needle faster, or is this, or should I do this? Should I get rid of this? Do I need to shift into this direction? Like, this is, being an adult and a business owner and making all of these very large and important decisions.
It's also why because we just had the triple party and everything, and it's also why everyone is so intrigued and is like, oh, how are things going? Because it's like, you know, it's kind of like we're their beta tester.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, if they can make it, maybe we can do something. You know what I mean? Because and they might be like, you know, we're their guinea pig, and seeing if we make it and everything like that, it's like, oh, things must be going good. Maybe I can. And it's true, because with my posting and everything like that, I've had another coworker, an old coworker, you know, he started his own thing, and he's been going in. So it started as just like a novelty. Yeah. You know, like he just had it for money on the side. Yeah. But I feel like more and more with the reels he sends me and stuff, more and more he's thinking of taking it more seriously. Right. And I have to imagine that, listen, we were friends before, right? But we didn't talk like we do since I've left. Right. And I feel like a part of that is him like more and more wanting to take that leap, and just seeing like, how is it on the other side? You know what I mean? And
it's like, man, I go back and forth of like, I couldn't imagine anything else. Right. There is not 1 ounce of me who wants to go to a normal job, who wants to give up the freedom we have, to live by my own rules, to go on vacation when we want to, not have to ask for time off, not worrying about if I need you to call in sick today and help me with this or help me with that. This is what I want. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. 150%. Right. And so
help us in join Patreon.
This is true. I was thinking that when I was talking about soccer.
That's exactly what it is. It's every time you get a chance, is you have to, you know, hey, join our Patreon. Hey, so I have this. It is hard, and it feels so hard, and it feels spammy, and it feels, and I lighten it as a joke, right? But it is and it isn't. Yeah, it's funny at the time, but seriously, join our Patreon though. Right. We could use the dollars.
Don't make me cry again.
Or if you want tears, those will be extra.
You have to pay for those.
Yeah, that's on the OF.
OnlyFans. I mean,
It's just a
listen, I'm
crying
not
page.
against.
It's just a crying page.
Oh God, no. Oh, that would be horrible. Nobody has a good crying face, but I don't think I do.
People might be into it. So if you're interested in a crying
Stop.
page,
No.
no, but it is that it's selling yourself. It's posting, those reels or
Over and over.
and then on everyone has a certain day of the week where you can like spam the group or whatever. It's using that.
I don't remember the last time I've done that.
It's doing right.
That's the other thing too, is that I go back and forth of, why isn't this coming? And then it's also like, I personally post the Sell It Saturday in That Mom with a Laser group. I don't remember the last time I commented on Sell It Saturday. Like, what the fuck? What am I doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's because every little thing can be overwhelming when you're in this space. It's like, oh, I should post. Do I post all the things?
Right.
Do I post one thing?
Right.
Is anybody going to see it? Oh, I'll do that later. I need to post about the podcast. I need to post about my course. I need, and that's the other thing too, is that I have so many things going on, but all of them are my baby. And I can't get rid of any of them.
Right.
I can't get rid of keychain thingies because I've worked my ass off to get it to this point and to get it to what it is.
Right.
And then same with the podcast. I'm definitely not
Right.
giving this up. We're 170 episodes in. I'm sticking this shit out. Same with the course. Right. Same with the course. I've seen the impact the course and hopefully future courses does for people. So I'm not going to give that up.
Right.
The files, that's a difficult one because I've all but not really given it up. But I do one new file every 6 months if I'm lucky. Right. But then when I polled my friends and I polled the groups, people wanted more files. And I'm like, fuck, I don't have time.
Right.
And then what else? I feel like there's something else I'm doing that I forget. I think that's all of them. Maybe that's all of them. Whatever. But there's so many things, but I love them all in different ways.
Right.
And then I also think you can't have all your eggs in one basket either.
Right.
Because if all your eggs are in the file basket and file sales are down, then what?
Then what? Yeah.
So it's I need all these little pieces to hopefully together they pay the bills. But then it also comes the struggle of, what am I going to post about? Did I already post today?
Right.
I need to save something for tomorrow. Okay, well, what was that thing that I was saving for today? So, it's
then is it too much posting? Do I post every day? Do I post once a week? Do I post twice a week? It's...
But then at the same time, I have to keep reminding myself that I can't think of a person who posted, especially in their own group or on their own page. Now, in other pages, yes, I've noticed that because I'm like, you're self-promoting in someone else's group, and I'll notice that. But if they're posting on their own page, their own business page, or posting in the comments and following the rules, 2 comments per person on the Sell It Saturday post, don't do 0 like me. Do 2, but don't do 0. I've never gotten annoyed with someone who posted about their business too much. Have you?
I'm not in the groups as much as you are.
No, but in general, think of Coca-Cola or think of a gun holster. If they posted 3 times in one day, would you be annoyed?
Listen, they follow me. They stalk me.
But that's what I'm saying.
I get the same post. Because through ads, you get the same ones over
But
and over
has that
again.
ever annoyed you? That you see the same post over and over again?
No, you just scroll past
Exactly.
it.
I have to remind myself
That's
if
true.
I want to post 2 or 3 times a day.
You can.
I can.
It's a free country. You can
Right.
do whatever you want.
Sure, maybe if I think about it and I want to save one of them for tomorrow because I don't have it for tomorrow. But
Right.
then at that point, if I can, schedule that bitch for tomorrow.
Right. Or just go live all the time.
We need to do that too.
Yeah, we need to go. We need to do a lot of things more. But we
So
have
much time in
ramped
the day.
up. We have ramped
We
up a lot
have.
of stuff, and I've been
Well, and we
doing a
did
lot
see
more.
last week. So last week was the first week where you really besides focusing on trying to get extra clients,
Right.
you focused on Riley Black stuff.
yeah.
And then it's funny because then Mom, Emily, was reaching out to him
To help her
for
with LMC.
content and stuff for Riley
Right.
Black Media. And I'm
Right.
like, but no, you're supposed to be over here helping me do
I will as
stuff.
soon as I finish these.
Which
these
again,
shorts.
it's money that's
No,
coming
right.
in. So by no means is it a negative thing.
Right.
But I did see that additional money was coming in when
Right.
we had additional posts last week. And I do think it might have been posted a couple places because they kind of like when they come in together in groups.
Right.
I always feel like that's
Where
a
did you
post
come
somewhere
from?
that I
Right.
where did you come from? Where did you go? Everything turns into a song for me. I'm sorry. But you just wonder, okay, who posted about it? Maybe I just didn't see it because
Right.
unless they tag me, it's
Right.
highly likely that I won't see it, or Facebook will show it to me 5 days later, and then the moment has passed.
Right.
But yeah, so it's just
Yeah.
we're
Doing it.
we're doing what we can, and if you feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing,
Now you know.
you're not alone. Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
No. You literally fly by the seat of your pants and you see. Well, and
Lots
also
of
too,
pants
what works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. Because what worked, last year isn't necessarily working this year.
Right.
Or
This
what
is
worked
true.
last month isn't necessarily working this
What
month.
worked yesterday and the day before
Right.
and the week before.
So,
yeah.
and then
all
it's
over
like
the place.
it's like right now we should be like pumping up for like Christmas because that's even LMC is
Right.
Christmas based.
Yeah.
But it feels early.
Yeah.
It feels really
Well,
early.
that's the other thing too. You add in my brain and this self-diagnosed ADHD thing that I got going on, and like everyone started, oh, it's back to school time. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It like summer just started. What do you mean back
Right.
to school? And so that's the other part that I struggle with is that my brain doesn't. Even after this many years, 2018 is when I started. My brain still does not think, oh, this holiday is several months away. I need to start now.
By the way, we have keychain thingies for back to school. We have some baseballs. We have
We
some sports stuff.
Teacher
and
stuff.
Teacher stuff. Check out the website.
But like, I
Keychainthingies.com.
I just don't. My brain doesn't think that way. And I don't think about back to school until other people are thinking about
Right.
school and posting about it.
Right, yeah.
And so as a file designer and a supplier, those are things I need to be thinking about. But I struggle with that because,
Right.
I was always the person before I was a business owner. I was out there with all the men doing my Christmas shopping the same weeks
Walgreens.
that you guys were, because I waited until the last minute and I always thought I had more time and I have 4 weeks. Oh, I have
Right.
3 weeks. Oh, fuck, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yeah.
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 So and as a business owner, I need to have that mind frame or try and get better about that mind frame. And maybe it's me making a big calendar and it's like, okay, like where it's 2 months ahead or
Right.
3 months ahead or
Yeah.
whatever, to where, oh, now's when I need to tell people to start preparing for Valentine's Day. Now's when I need to start telling people to prepare for Halloween and etc. And then you have this weird part of, like, if I post any of this on my personal page, if I post anything about Halloween,
Right.
unless you're a Halloween fiend, you're going to be like, what the fuck you posting
post-
about that for right now? I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot on this episode, but, you said you liked it real. So here it is.
By the way, there's a house that's already decorated for Halloween.
Does that mean we can bring out Skelly soon?
Yeah, once we get it welded so he can stay up.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
See, then we got to think about it now so that we can get him fixed.
Yeah.
Good thing we
He
know
won't
a
stand.
welder.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Okay. We'll hire him with our $85 in our savings account. That
Hire.
we can.
I'm gonna need a favor.
Right. But what can we do for you that your wife can already?
Uh-oh.
What?
What can we do for you that your wife doesn't?
Yeah. I
Oh,
know, right? Because she can do
Yeah.
all the things.
All
So I don't know. Someone come tell me what to do. Be my
Yep.
business.
Feet finder. Here we come. If you want feet pics.
Maybe not to the laser people, but to strangers.
Riley Black Toes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Riley Black Toes. We'll put keychain thingies on the toes. So that way they can also.
Is this a good time?
What? Oh. Eggplant parmesan.
Where's the?
What, the 3 cameras that are right in your face?
So there's been random, but there's, if you've seen they're called nail fees going around, and they're like usually circles, and they have like little indentations cut out for nails. So like if you're a manicurist or you do nails, it's so that like you can show off your designs and your nails, but then your business information is in the center, right? And so one of my old nail ladies, she from South Florida, she ordered one, and so I made her one. And then Brianne Dutra from the Burn Shack that I talk to all the time, this one, she's making me another one, by the way.
Another one of these?
Red.
Ask for the stand.
Red and sparkly. I will. I'll ask for the stand. She's also making me a phone stand that looks like a pillow.
So you bullied me into buying my own stand for my phone, and now you're getting one?
Your own stand for your phone. Oh, no, that's different. This one's for the bedside.
Oh, okay.
It's not to like, but I guess it could be,
okay.
But it just like your phone sits in it and it can charge. It's like this, not like the other one. Okay. But anyway, I had this idea to make one like this because, again, if you know me, you know I've turned into apparently the Peeing Queen accidentally. So the Peeing Queen had to make an eggplant.
And you haven't done many
peens
lately.
I haven't done anything, and I felt like it was time. I needed to. It's time. I needed to do a fun project. This really made me laugh. It didn't take too long. That's the other advice that I have for people struggling. I think it was Stephanie Murphy. The other day she posted about
right?
Yes, Country Porch Swing. She posted about how, you know, she's kind of been in, I think, a weird space as well. A lot of us have been. And how she had orders and stuff, but she ended up making something for herself.
Right.
I honestly don't even know that if it was Stephanie right now, but I'm pretty sure it was. So Stephanie, if that wasn't you, I'm sorry. But anyway, someone had posted recently about, you know, yes, there's orders to do and things to do, but, you know, they needed to make something for themselves. I think even
find the joy in what you do again. I
think Brianne even posted about it the other day. You know, she had orders to do, but she was working on fun new editions of like nail fee files for her shop. And, you know, she sells physical products, but I think she also sells some files as well. But yeah, that's something I used to do back in the day when I really made physical products was, you know, you get these custom orders and yes, you appreciate every order and you appreciate, you know, the custom work that you get to do to make to their specifications. At the same time, it's usually all to their specifications. And yes, some customers give you the leeway of, you know, design freedom or whatever, or sometimes they don't. And now you're making all this stuff for people and, maybe even worst case scenario, you're making these things and you don't even like them, but it pays the bills. Yep. Like several times you've joked with me about making political items.
Yeah.
And
because we are elections.
There's money in it. And then it's also like, do I even want to get into that space and like it posting about it? Would that alienate the other side of my following and whatever? And so it's just this weird balance of making what the people want, but then also being true to yourself.
Right.
And true to myself was making an eggplant. So I'm going to put this down so I don't keep swinging around eggplant. But anything else we want to share?
I mean, we shared it all.
We've shared quite a bit of it. Yeah, and then it's just, I mean, it's been crazy. There's been so many great and not great things, you know, going on, and like just the podcast conference in January, and then went home in March, ISA in April, Vegas in May, the conference in June, Colorado in July, and then
I'm so happy not to travel anymore.
yeah, I kind of
Stay put.
it
for
was
a
funny
little
when
bit.
I was scheduling my next hair appointment. She was like, "Do you have anything coming up that like you need to, get your hair done for?" And I was like, for once, no. Thank goodness that there's not
Yeah.
like anything coming up. And I was like, oh well, I guess the next thing is like kind of like our Halloween party. That's probably the next thing I'd want to make sure like my hair, I guess, is good for, although it's always in a bun anyway. She was like, "Can I come?" And I was like, "Of course."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been kind of nice. But then we've also tossed around doing, UV Energize in September. And then I don't know if the other one that we were considering is in February of next year. But, other things at the end of the year. Oh, no, there was the Creator Fest. I think it was what it was called. We were thinking of doing that. I think it was August or September.
And then that Pinners.
Pinners Conference. Yeah, there was one. I don't remember when that was.
Yeah, because there was a few.
That's true, because there was
two
a
dates
couple
in two different places that we were like looking to drive. And
yeah, going back and forth.
stuff.
And do we do it next year? Do we do the one coming up this year? Oh, we finally get to chill for a second.
Right.
Do we want to chill? Do we want to add something else to the schedule when we finally have a quote clear schedule for once?
Yeah.
So yeah, in conclusion, we suck at making decisions and they're really hard. And subscribe to Patreon so that we can make those decisions a
And
little
make,
bit easier.
And shop keychainthingies.com.
Buy the
Anything
course.
else we got? Buy the course silhouette for lasers.
Buy my files if you haven't already, even though there aren't any
The LED
much
What's
new
the LED
ones.
course called? Just
LEDs with RBD.
There it is. LEDs with RBD.
Yeah.
And follow us on all the things, and any way that you can support. Share the podcast with a friend. You don't have to like really send us money. Although $4 a month isn't that much.
No, I mean, and we have 42 paid
Thanks. Yes.
like members, which is amazing, and we appreciate every single 42 of you. We have, I don't know if it's 77 free members or if it counts that 42 into the 77. But we have tons of free members as well.
And if you're a Patreon and you're listening to this on the Friday that it comes out,
After Dark.
we will see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow
we'll see
night.
You
We're
Saturday
gonna have a
night.
hangout.
Yeah, we're gonna have a hangout, and
And if you're not a Patreon member, you will still have access to it after it's live.
No, not the Patreon only ones. We don't share those.
No, I'm saying if they become a Patreon member, then they have access to it, don't they?
No. Well, yes. Sorry, I apologize. If you sign up for Patreon afterwards, you can view the
back and watch it.
Patreon only After
Yes.
Darks. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
See, she had me thinking I was crazy.
No, you can. You
Yes.
can see the old ones.
Yes.
What I meant was we don't share those publicly.
Oh, no, we can't. No,
We really
that needs to
can't.
stay behind the paywall.
It does. We do record it because I
Yes.
do want to make like content and stuff, and if there's a really good moment, having it recorded so that we can like share it and show
Right.
people what they're missing with the After Darks is beneficial. But yeah, we record them, but we do not post anything but little like funny snippets.
And it's a different kind of recording because I don't have all three cameras going. It's
True.
just the straight two shot because things happen on the After Darks. So it's
do.
fun time.
It is
It's
a good
fun
time. He's usually, I was telling my my hairdresser about it today of how like because I invited her to be on the podcast because she's just a good time and she's also a small business owner.
Right.
And
Right, yeah.
so I
And it's good to get like an outside
other
that's not a
perspectives.
laser, because there are takeaways.
Right. She just moved here a year ago, and so I wanted to like talk to her about
Right.
for hairdresser, like you move, you have to start over.
Right. Like
It's
literally
not like
over.
us where
Yeah.
we could move. We literally moved 2 hours away, and it didn't really affect our business
Right.
that much as far as, because they didn't do a lot of local
stuff.
work, and
Right.
hers is all local because it's people getting their hair done. But I was telling her, I was like, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm so excited, to be on the podcast," because her and her husband joke about being like starting a podcast.
Oh. They should join my podcast course.
Right? That, I mean, we've talked about it again for since we've started almost. But she then instantly got nervous. And I was like, oh, if you're nervous, you could join us for an after dark.
Right.
I was like, those are a good, like, kind of get your feet wet, see that it's a good time.
Yeah, we've never had
and
a
then,
live guest on an after dark.
Yeah, so she can't do it this Saturday, but she said she would do one, like, in the future, which would be fun. We have had a live guest.
We've had Heather. That doesn't count, though.
Your face. Oh, we've had Heather.
I just looked at the window. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. She's
That's
knocked
what
on the
reminded-
window. Yeah.
I was like, we have had a live guest.
But I mean, kind of, because they're always like off camera. They
That's
never
true.
sit down.
Right.
and
They have, but yeah, most of the time they're off camera.
She's
just
yelling over there. We y'all
bothering
can't
us.
hear. But we can, unfortunately. I wish those tables were turned. And
that
y'all
she
can
could hear her,
that
or
they can hear her.
but
We heard her vaguely.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah, no, we were just
Good
talking about the
times.
After Dark, pushing the After Dark, and
yeah.
joining Patreon.
Yeah, and how I was telling her that she could do one to start there and not be so nervous on the regular one. But
Yeah, and our entry level is $4 a month, and that gets you access to a bunch of discounts from our guests, exclusive announcements, and all that stuff. You get
Early
the podcast
access, yeah.
early.
yeah.
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 A lot of good things. So this whole episode has been a life update, so you don't have to stick around for the life update.
Right, there is no life update.
No. But think I'm gonna play with the F1
Yes.
and get those settings for the pens because
Yeah,
the
people have
pens
been
came
asking.
in.
Yeah. Oh God, the pens, guys.
That's a whole other episode.
We'll save that for another episode. We're finally wrapping it up. Oh, now that's what I was gonna say. I was telling her how at the end of the after darks, we plan to go like an hour and a half. At an hour and a half, he's always like, "Okay, are we done?" He's hungry. He's tired. He's all those things, and he's ready to. And I'm like, just 10 more minutes. Let's give him a 10-minute warning. And 20 minutes later, we're still on and talking to people and whatever. But it's hard because
to Will and Victor.
Well, and it makes it easy doing the after darks when there's other people to converse with and talk to, and you're not just talking to each other or talking like by yourself
text.
or whatever. Yeah. So we've talked about starting a second podcast.
Yeah.
And if we do, it would be a live one so that we didn't have to plan all these things and then you just post it and,
That's it.
yeah,
It is
there's
what
no
it is.
editing because adding more on when we're
Which really,
struggling
listen,
to handle
the only
what we're doing
editing,
now.
the only editing that this one is done is the cut between the cameras, because you won't let me do that live.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's the only editing that's really
Maybe
gets-
eventually I will.
Yeah, it's the only editing that kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe if I,
I
put
mean,
the
if
buttons
there's
under here,
you're gonna
just
do some editing with my crying.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, and the ads, and I have to throw in the ads,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.